Hello my friends, and welcome back to Restaurant Recipe Recreations. This channel is dedicated to teaching you how to create your favorite signature recipes from the most popular restaurants. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to recreate the 35-ounce prime tomahawk steak from Fleming's Prime Steakhouse. I mean, look at this gorgeous creature, right? If you're a steak lover, the tomahawk steak is the crown jewel of steaks. Now, what the tomahawk steak is, or the cowboy ribeye, is a cut of ribeye steak, which in my opinion is already the best steak. It's my favorite steak. And that's because ribeyes have a tendency to have the most flavor due to the marbling or the fat content that's in the steak. But now with the tomahawk, you take it to an entirely different level by leaving the bone on the steak. Anytime a cut of beef is left with the bone intact, it just gives it an entirely different element of richness and flavor. And then you're left with this amazing and decadent and flavorful steak bite after bite. And at Fleming's Prime Steakhouse, they give you the option to top any one of the steaks that you order with a variety of different flavored compound butters. And one of the options that they offer is a Béarnaise compound butter, and I'm going to show you how to recreate that today as well. And this prime 35-ounce tomahawk steak costs over $90 on the menu at Fleming's, and I'm going to show you how to do it in your own home, complete with the Béarnaise compound butter. So let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, I would like to ask that if you're enjoying this channel, if I'm bringing you value by teaching you how to recreate your favorite signature dishes from the most popular restaurants, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you haven't already. Feel free to drop a comment in the comments section below. Give me a like if you happen to like this episode. And if you'd like me to feature a restaurant or a recipe, drop that in the comments section below as well. So let's go ahead and tackle this beautiful bad boy. So the first thing that you want to do in preparing any steak, especially a steak that is this large, is you want to remove it from your refrigerator and let it sit on the counter for about a half an hour to let it come up to a room temperature. The reason for that is that that will give you a more accurate internal temperature when you cook the steak, meaning rare, mid-rare, medium, however you prefer to eat your steak. If you take the steak straight from the refrigerator, sear it, and then finish it in the oven, you're going to be about a full temperature less than how you like your steak. So if you like it medium, it'll be medium rare and so on. So go ahead and take your steak out of the refrigerator, put it on a platter, don't season it yet. We're just gonna set it off to the side and let it come up to room temperature. While we're waiting for that, I will show you how to recreate the Béarnaise compound butter. To make this Béarnaise compound butter, you're going to need 4 tablespoons of fresh minced tarragon, 4 tablespoons of minced shallot, 1 stick of unsalted and very softened butter, a dry white wine like vermouth will do just fine, and white wine vinegar. Put your pan on a low heat and take a little bit of your unsalted butter stick and place it in the pan to melt. And then set the rest of your butter off to the side for right now. But as I mentioned, it needs to be very, very softened to room temperature. Once the butter has melted, add your 4 tablespoons of minced shallot. Cook the minced shallot until it is translucent and softened. Once your shallot has softened, you want to add 2 tablespoons of a dry white wine. I like to use vermouth for my cooking wine. Next, add 2 tablespoons of a white wine vinegar. Once the vinegar and the white wine have cooked out of the shallots and your shallots are virtually dry, transfer them into a mixing bowl and then put your mixing bowl into the refrigerator for about 5 minutes to let the shallots cool down. Once your shallots have had a chance to cool down a little bit, we're going to add the rest of the stick of butter, 4 tablespoons of minced fresh tarragon, and a healthy pinch of kosher salt. And then just mix all of the ingredients together. And now we just need to get this beautiful tomahawk steak ready to sear and finish in the oven. So what you want to do with each side is lightly drizzle canola oil and brush it into the steak. The reason that I'm using canola oil is because it has a high smoke point. And what that means is that the temperature of canola oil can get very, very high before it starts to burn. And of course, you're going to need that because we're searing the steak. Next, you want to liberally top it with fresh kosher salt and cracked black pepper. Now we're just going to flip it over and do the same exact thing to the other side. So just a touch of canola oil and then brush it into the steak. Again, the reason that you need to use canola oil or an oil with a high smoke point is that it can withstand very high searing heats without burning. Other oils that you can use that have a high smoke point are avocado oil, almond oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil, safflower oil, and sesame oil. However, extra virgin olive oil has a tendency to burn at a lower temperature, so you want to avoid using extra virgin olive oil on this steak. So again, we're just gonna give it a healthy dusting of kosher salt and cracked black pepper. And now we're gonna sear this beautiful steak and finish it in the oven. Every upscale steakhouse chain uses specially designed commercial broilers or ovens to cook their steaks at extremely high temperatures, which is why when you order a steak at a steakhouse, it has that kind of beautiful crispy crust on it. And that, of course, is impossible to perfectly recreate in a residential kitchen. But what I'm going to show you to do today is we're going to sear the steak first in a cast iron pan and then finish it in the oven. And we're gonna get you as close to the real deal as possible. And if you don't have a cast iron pan at home, but you'd like to purchase one, I will go ahead and put a link in the description below where you can get this pan on Amazon. But if not, just make sure that you're using a pan, obviously, that's large enough for your steak, but also one that is oven safe up to 500 degrees. Preheat your oven to 500 degrees and then put your cast iron pan or your oven safe pan on the highest heat possible. And once your pan comes up to the highest heat, add about 3 or 4 tablespoons of canola oil. And now you add your tomahawk steak. Don't move the steak around in the pan because you want a nice crust to form. So just place the steak in the pan and let it go for about 3 minutes on one side, and then we'll flip it over to do the other side. Once you've drained off all of the oil, put the tomahawk steak back into your cast iron pan and put in the oven at 500 degrees. So to accurately check the desired doneness of your steak, you need to take a kitchen thermometer or a meat thermometer, inserted directly into the center of the steak and only going about halfway down. Don't let the tip of the thermometer touch the other side of the steak, meaning don't let it touch the pan. For a rare steak, you want the internal temperature to be between 120 and 130 degrees. For a medium rare steak, you want the internal temperature to be between 130 and 135 degrees. For a medium steak, the internal temperature is going to be about 135 to 145 degrees. And for medium well, it'll be about 145 to 155 degrees. Here's kind of a fun little tip and a hack that a lot of professional chefs use if you don't happen to have a meat thermometer. They take their index finger and they will press down firmly into the center of the steak. If you take your thumb and your pointy finger and then you press down on the flesh in your hand right here, the firmness of your hand is comparable to a rare steak. If you take your middle finger and do the same thing, touch your thumb with it, and then press down, that is the firmness of a medium rare steak. Take your ring finger and touch it to your thumb, press down on your hand, that is the firmness of a medium steak, and then your pinky to your thumb, that is the firmness of a medium well to well done steak. And that'll give you sort of generally an idea of what the temperature of your steak is. You'll need to let your steak rest for about 5 to 10 minutes when you take it out of the oven. And what that does is that it allows the steak to reabsorb all of the cooking juices back into the meat so that your steak stays tender and juicy and delicious. And then when your tomahawk steak is to your desired temperature, we're just gonna go ahead and serve it up here and then just top it with your Béarnaise compound butter. After you've made the butter, just go ahead and leave it out on the counter. That way you're not putting ice cold butter on top of your beautifully cooked and prepared steak, and then it just gives the butter an opportunity to melt into your steak, which is the point, right? I mean, look at how beautiful this is, right? It's crazy. Over $90 on the menu at Fleming's. And you can have it in your house tonight. I hope you enjoyed this episode, everybody. I hope you enjoy all of my episodes. Go ahead and hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified of all of my upcoming videos. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. And that way you'll be notified of my upcoming episodes as well. But until I see you all again, everybody, make it an awesome, awesome day. Cheers. I love y'all. All right, I'm not gonna lie. It's worth the $90.